All right, we can start with the speaking test. First of all, could you please introduce yourself?
Uh, yes, of course. I am Sharmin Akhtar, and you can call me Sharmin. I came from Borishal. It is a small town of our country, Bangladesh. I live with my family, and there are my mother and two nephew of mine here.
Okay. Can you tell me something about your educational background? What did you study up until now?
Okay, currently I am pursuing my MBA from University of Borishal, major in marketing, and I completed my BBA also from there. And I completed my HSC at 2014 from Amrita Alde College, Borishal, and SSC also from Borishal at Oxford Mission High School.
All right. Let's talk about your education in your early lives. What was your favorite subject growing up?
Okay, when I was a child, I like to do mathematics more, but when I grow up, I didn't find any interest on that subject. Rather, I find interest on literature like Bengali literature and English literature.
All right. And how important were your teachers during your academic years?
Uh, Teachers were much important during my academic years. They supported me a lot. Without their contribution, I won't be achieve such results in my career.
All right. Now let's talk about shopping in general. What type of things do you usually shop for?
Uh, Actually, from our country's perspectives, naturally girls like to do shopping a lot, but I'm not that kind of girl, so I don't like to go out for shopping much. I just buy necessary things for me.
All right. At this point, we will move on to the Q card section where you will have a topic and then four questions related to the topic. You will have one
Okay.
minute to prepare yourself, during which you will have access to a paper and a pencil to organize your thoughts. After 1 minute of preparation, you will have to speak on the topic for 1.5 to 2 minutes. If I stop you at the 2 minute mark, do not take that as an indication of how well your exam is going. You will not be allowed to look at the questions when you start speaking. Are the instructions clear?
Yes.
All right. I'll start sharing my screen. Please give me a confirmation as soon as you can see the questions.
Okay. Yes, I can see it now.
All right. You have exactly 1 minute to prepare yourself. We can start when you're ready. All right. Your 1 minute is over. We're going to start the answer now. Could you please begin?
Well, there are lots of things which I own by myself. Some of them are gifted from some near and dear ones, and some are bought by myself. But today I'm going to tell about a special table lamp. Which is gifted on my 12th birthday from one of my grandmother, and she is very dear to me always. From my childhood, I like to spend time with her, and when I was 12, she gifted me that lamp on my birthday, and she told me that it was also special for her also because she got it from one of her uncle, and it was so much special because it has a long longevity, and for this she gave it to me, and I no, in general use that lamp for my study purpose. When I sit for study at night, I use that lamp, and though my grandmother still not alive, but still I can recall her memory when I sit for study, when I use that lamp, and I just go to my childhood, the time I and the moment I spent with her, and she used to sometimes gossip with me, and she always try to inspire me for my study and for my career, and that's why this lamp is very much special for me, and I think I will keep that lamp to me if it is stopped working
Okay,
after.
I'll stop your response right there. We're going to move on to the next part of the speaking test. Let's talk about material assets in general. Nowadays, society is considered to be increasingly materialistic. Why do you think this is?
uh, Actually, I don't have much idea about materialistic, but I can tell something that the way of thinking and the way of behaving of people are changing nowadays, and because of changes in every sector, people also have some changes in this perspective.
All right, fair enough. What kind of assets do people in your culture use to show their status?
Uh, It actually depends on the basis of their thinking, and all the people don't try to keep same kind of assets. Some things that only money can show their status, and some of the people think that if they had a large house, lots of cars, it will show their status on the society. And on the other hand, there are some peoples who only thinks their personality, their behavior, and their attitude will be a good asset to show their status or about
All
their
right.
personality.
Do you think this varied or this was different for people from 50 or 60 years ago?
Yes, of course, because day by day the theory of life is changing, and the way people are thinking also changes. At an early age, people thought in some other way, and on that time there were not so much problems, and also uh, there were peace, and they don't think in a complex sense, but nowadays we find lots of complexity in people's mind.
Okay. And finally, do you think a labor worker and a teacher or an officer should receive the same amount of respect?
uh, Actually, there are some issues. In some sense, I can say that a labor works more harder, or he provides more physical efficient to his work. But if we consider their background, a teacher is much more educated, and he spends lots of time in study and hard work, and he got the qualification to become a teacher. On the other hand, a labor worker doesn't utilize his study properly. Because of this, he becomes a day laborer. So obviously teacher's status is much more than a day laborer, so obviously teacher will get more salary.
All right, perfect. At this point, we will conclude the speaking test, and I'll give you an overview of the entire speaking test in terms of what you've scored in the different criteria. I'll explain the scores in English first. At any point, if you have any questions, please make notes of them so that you can ask me at the end of the review. In terms of the speaking, there are 4 different criteria based on which you are usually assessed. We have pronunciation, lexical resources, which is vocabulary, grammatical range and accuracy, and finally fluency and coherence. In terms of pronunciation, your score is a 7 out of 9. I was able to understand everything that you were saying. However, the intelligibility of your language was somewhat influenced by your first language. So all of the different pronunciations for the language was not perfect. Phonetic applications were not sustained throughout the entire response. However, as long as everything's easily understandable, you will never get less than 7 in terms of pronunciation. If you want to get an 8 or above, then pronunciation features need to be sustained throughout the majority of the response or most of the lexicons that you use. In terms of lexical resources, which is vocabulary, your score is a 6 out of 9. You were able to use accurate and successful words for the majority of your response. However, if you want to get a 7, you need to be more effective with your words, meaning whenever you are trying to convey an idea, you need to select effective words in order to clearly present that idea rather than just selecting successful words. Now, keep in mind that effective words are not always more difficult words. For example, I can say that this is a good table, I'll get a 6. If I say this is a plastic or a wooden table, then I'll get a 7. So these are not difficult words, these are more accurate in terms of presenting the meaning more effectively. In terms of grammatical range and accuracy, your score is a 6 out of 9. Meaning was never distorted. I was able to understand everything that you were saying. However, you did make a lot of technical errors in your sentences. When you were trying to construct complex structures, they were a bit off. You had a lot of comparison problems as well, tense formation, word formation, but in terms of the meaning, it was never distorted. So in terms of grammar, if you want to get a 7, majority of the sentences that you construct need to be correct, and you need to demonstrate that you're comfortable with the language. The language barrier is not an issue for you. For fluency and coherence, your score is a 7 out of 9. Your answers were on topic, they were relevant, they were somewhat organized. However, you did have a significant amount of language related hesitation as well. In your speaking exam, we usually consider two types of hesitations: content related and language related hesitations. A student can get away with a perfect 9 even if he or she has content related hesitations, meaning when you're speaking, you forget something and you take a pause because of that. That's perfectly okay and acceptable. But if you have any language related hesitations, meaning you're taking a pause or you're hesitating or you're stumbling because you're trying to find words or appropriate ways of presenting an information in the language, and so that hesitation is resulting from your weakness in language, and the student will not be allowed to get more than 7 if he or she has any language related hesitations. And on top of that, if you want to get an 8, you also need to ensure that your answers are properly organized and developed. Even if they're not fully developed, there needs to be somewhat of a structure. So your answers need to resemble the structure of an essay so that I know what you are going to talk about, and then you exemplify or present arguments to support whatever your opinion or claim is regarding the topic. Your overall score for this particular speaking exam is a 6.5. In your actual exam, your tentative score should be between 6.5 and a 7. Do you have any questions?
Actually, not. I clearly understand all your instruction and review properly.
All right, perfect. Then if you, in the future, near future, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot an email to us, and we'll conclude the speaking test here, and good luck for your test.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I sent a copy of your assessment in the message section, so you can check that for reference. Okay?
Okay,
All
okay.
right. Thank you very much. Have a good day.